Hi, today we'll be doing a recap on the drawing of dot and cross diagram for covalent bonding. So what is a covalent bond? I hope you still remember that covalent bonding is the sharing of valence electrons between two or more non-metal atoms. Okay, non-metal, and remember it is all about the sharing of electrons. So in covalent bonding, unlike ionic bonding where you need to draw all the shells, in covalent bonding you are only interested in the outer electron shell, meaning the valence electrons. So let's start off with an example. Let's try to draw the dot and cross diagram for ammonia. The very first step, you need to write out the chemical formula. And I hope you still remember that ammonia, from N onwards, there are 3 letters. So the chemical formula will be NH3. There are 2 elements present in ammonia, and they are nitrogen and hydrogen. If you check out their position in the periodic table, you will notice that they belong to the non-metallic groups. So they are non-metals, and since non-metals, so it will definitely be covalent bonding. Okay, the very first step we need to do is to list down the electronic configuration. But to do that, you need to first write down the proton number. And the proton number is actually the bottom number that you get from the periodic table. So in this case, nitrogen is a 7, hydrogen is a 1. Proton number in an atom is also equals to the number of electrons. So we will write out the electronic configuration. And as we all know, the first shell can only hold a maximum of 2 electrons. So nitrogen will be 2.5. And for hydrogen, since the first shell can hold a maximum of 2, so we will just give it a 1. The next step is very easy. All you need to do is just to write down the number of electrons the outer shell need in order to achieve a stable duplex or octet configuration. So in this case, outer shell, second shell can hold 8 electrons. Since nitrogen has 5 in its outer shell, it can hold 3 more electrons. For hydrogen, it's the first shell, so it can hold 1 more electron. After getting to this point, we need to remember 2 rules. And they are, what you need is what you share. Meaning, if the atom requires 1 more electron, it will share 1. If it requires 3 more electrons, in total, it will share 3 electrons. Okay, and the second point you need to remember is the sharing must be equal. So something like tit for tat, meaning if one atom in the covalent bond share 1 electron, the other party, the other atom, must reciprocate by sharing 1 electron as well. There's no such thing as one atom sharing 2 and the other partner will only share 1. Okay, that is unequal and that doesn't happen in covalent bonding. So with all this knowledge in mind, let's go back to the electronic configuration. Okay, we have 3 and 1. So which one do we draw for first? Okay, as a rule of thumb, let's try to draw for the atom that requires a smaller number of electrons. So in this case, we will start drawing for hydrogen first. Now, we have 1 hydrogen, we have 3 hydrogen and 1 nitrogen. How are you going to position them? Okay, remember, hydrogen has 1 in its shell, outer shell. So we do not pair it with another hydrogen because this is the first shell, and if you pair these 2 together, they would have achieved stable duplex configuration already. And if they are already stable, they wouldn't want to bond to the other nitrogen and the other hydrogen. And so this is incorrect. So what we want to achieve is such that all the atoms here, listed here, will be involved in the bonding. And the only way to do it, right, is when we have nitrogen as the central atom. Okay, as you can see. So you should be getting this as your final dot and cross diagram. Nitrogen in the middle, sharing 1 electron with a hydrogen. So you see, hydrogen requires 1, so it will share 1 electron with nitrogen. Nitrogen will return the favor, so sharing must be equal. It also gives 1 for sharing. Similarly for the other 2 hydrogen atoms. However, if you notice, after sharing 3 electrons with the 3 hydrogen atoms, nitrogen still has 2 electrons left that is not involved in bonding because 3 electrons are used for sharing. Okay, so the other 2 electrons, where do we draw it? So you will notice that there is an empty space here, which is why you will draw the other 2 electrons here as a pair, and hence this is the overall dot and cross diagram for ammonia. Okay, and it is always good to include a key such that you indicate which is the nitrogen electrons and which are the hydrogen electrons. And note that this drawing is done in pencil, which is what you should be doing. And also, you should be using a circle template to draw, okay, so that you will have neat circles. And yeah, that's pretty much dot and cross diagram for covalent compounds.